Angry Joe here, and I'm with Gary, lead designer on Alien Isolation. I'm so excited, man. I just got out of the demo you had. I got hands-on with the title. So let me do your job for you here a little bit. This game was awesome. I'm so happy to see this after the disaster that was Aliens Colonial Marines. I'm hoping that you guys can sort of bring honor and excitement back to the franchise. I know I'm being very rough. Colonial Marines was the second title too, but whatever. So hopefully this game sort of gives us what we want, because I don't know if you've seen the review, but the review in it, I actually asked, I was like, you know what would be great, what kind of Aliens game we need? This is that game. Almost exactly what I described. So I'm so happy to... How long have you guys been working on it?
Well, that's exactly it. We've been working on the game for over 3 years now, and you're not the only person to call out, you know, that's the type of game you wanted to play. In fact, there's an entire development team that wanted to play that game, so we made it. But I think the frustrating thing for us, we've been making this for, like I said, 3 years. We've been kept in silence and keeping it secret just to kind of let, you know, really release it at the right time. And during that time, so many people are saying, you know what they need? A game like this. And we're like, yeah, you know what? We're making it, but just hold on.
and from what I've played, it's great. It's a horror. At first, I thought it would just be the alien, right? One alien, but it's not just that. And we'll get to that in a second. But I liken it, you guys, to Outlast. There's even some Outlast-like type mechanics where you're hiding in a locker from the alien, but they put unique spins on it to where when the alien comes, alien's not stupid, okay? He knows that there's something there, and so you have to play this another little mechanic where you have to hold your breath or something like that.
Yeah, we didn't want the players to feel like they were safe anywhere from the alien. There's too many games where you go, okay, if I go in here, I'm safe. I can just put the controller down, go grab a coffee, and I'll be fine. And we made a sort of game where the players' preconceptions from other video games, you're never really sure. We never say you're safe from the alien, but you might be able to buy yourself a few minutes. So the whole locker thing is a great thing, because the way the alien's designed is he searches an area, and if he can't find you, he'll go elsewhere. But if he's got an idea that you might be somewhere, he'll do a more thorough search. And if he's heard something, and it would do even more. And if he's seen a glimpse of you, then you're in real trouble.
In other horror games before, you know, oh shit, there's gonna be someone in this next section. There's gonna be someone around the corner. But you kind of feel you're terrified, but you feel safe because, okay, I'm just gonna run away. I'm gonna go in this other room, or I'm gonna hide in this thing, and so you know where the monster's possibly going to be. With the alien, as I was walking around, the alien could go up into the walls and the roof and underground, and so even when I escape from the alien, I don't feel safe because I have no idea if any of these, you know, whoever does the art or the architecture for the space station did a fantastic job with all these different locations and level designs where the alien can come out. So did you guys really strive for that look and the perfect level design? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's two parts. First off, we really concentrated on the visual look of it, because it had to feel like it was that first film. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And the team have a rule that I've said many times that I think is brilliant, where they won't put anything in the game if it couldn't have been built on the set in 1979. So everything has to feel like it's old tech. You've got like the hacking devices you use called like the security access tuner. It looks like a big old like World War II radio with a screen in it and things like that. So yeah, so that side, that world has to feel like it's not there to help you. It's unforgiving, and it just feels like, you know, an oil rig in space kind of. The other side of it is the space design, which comes from the alien behavior itself. When you've got a systematic alien that could be anywhere, you can't have so many dead ends and single corridors. You have to have multiple routes and kind of alternate paths for the player to take. And again, the best bit, I think, is you've got this motion tracker, and it's only ever 2D, and it's only accurate right in front of you. So you have to point it to see where the alien is, and actually,
motion tracker, you have no idea. It's
yeah,
right in front of you. You're like, it's right in front of
yeah,
us.
and then you're
just
like,
uh-oh. Colonial Marines. It's good. It's good. You guys have captured that well. Now, the other thing I mentioned before is that I was a little concerned because I was like, man, a whole game where it's just one alien, and I don't know how much I'd be scared, because we all know what aliens look like at this point, right? So a little bit of that mystery was taken away, but it's not just the alien that you're contending with. Can you talk a little bit about the other things that you contend with in the game?
Yeah, so first off, real quick, the alien has so much depth to the behavior because it learns it doesn't learn, it adapts and changes to the things that you use. So if you think about all the things you can find and craft and the weapons that you get to use, and then put that on a timeline, and then add that to the alien reacting to that stuff and kind of getting smarter and changing its thing, you've got this massive timeline of behaviors to work with. Add on top of that the other enemies, we've got humans in the game, but it's not like everyone's trying to kill you. It's not like a game where we just throw in hordes of enemies for you to just gun down. I mean, you pick up a pistol, there's like 2 rounds in it. You see humans.
So there are weapons in the game.
There are weapons, yeah, but you see humans and they're not all aggressive. Some are just trying to survive and get away, and even the aggressive ones shout warnings to you, and they tell you to back off, and they give you one last chance, and they pull a gun on you. And if you want to back away and go, that's cool, you can, and you don't even have to fight them. So you can play the whole game through without killing a human. That's something we will really, and Amanda Ripley doesn't go around slaughtering people for fun. But, some players like to, so we're like, oh, we've got to balance that out. But the gameplay with the humans and the android is not a kind of combat-based thing. It is all very similar to the alien. It's all about evasion and stealth, distractions, using the environment, and giving yourself options by collecting things.
Because there's so limited ammo. Like I picked up a flamethrower, I only had like 1 or 2 good shots in it, and you use it to sort of scare away the alien when you're about to get killed. That way, you have a little bit of room to breathe and go around him. So that's interesting. You said not all humans are bad guys or always coming and attack you. I would have been fine if they were, because I like that whole that guy's crazed right now. Like, I remember I was running from an alien. I hid under this table, and I just so happened to see a dude down the hall, and he had a gun, and he was like talking to himself like, I could do this, because he's scared of the alien too, and he's like, I've got a gun, I could do this. I'm like, okay, so I know what's gonna happen to this guy. He's all walking around like looking for me. I don't want him to see me because he might be like, bap, 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 just because. I see him over there, and of course, it's gonna happen all the time, obviously. You know what happens, these xenomorph. Anyways, but it's not just aliens and the humans. There's also these really creepy synthetics and the station itself. Could you tell us about those?
Yeah, so the station is run by this company called Seegson, and they're a competitor with Weyland-Yutani. However, they haven't got much.
What were they called?
Seegson. Yeah.
Has that been in the lore, or is that something
no,
brand new?
It's something we created. We didn't want to kind of just use Weyland-Yutani again and again.
Yeah, because I was going to say, is Weyland-Yutani in the game? But
so,
this is...
Weyland-Yutani are in the game, because at this point, Amanda Ripley actually works for Weyland-Yutani, and she visits with the Weyland-Yutani team to get to Seegson. So she gets to this station, she finds out that, the alien's there, and then it all goes to hell. But yeah, the company Seegson are actually a kind of pretty budget, kind of...
like a
struggling company, and they make these androids that are really basic. They kind of got these rubbery white faces, they don't have moving lips, and they're really basic. They just perform their duties on the station, and they're kind of binary. And if you are aggressive towards them or maybe hack something, they kind of change their behavior, and it's very obvious they're then out to get you. And then they're a massive problem because they're really, really tough to kill. So they're kind of halfway between the alien and the human in a kind of like difficulty curve. But yeah, I think the funny thing about it is the Seegson, they always say that we don't, we want to make robots that people recognize, and they're called working Joes. So they go, you always know a working Joe.
Apollo and the Working Joe, working together for a safer, better connected Sevastopol. This could require my attention. That was a response. This isn't the answer.
Can you tell us a little bit about, a lot of horror games seem to be these sort of budget titles at $15 or something like that, and the experience is rather short, but, tension-filled. Is your game more substantial than that? Is it longer?
Yeah, the game's actually about 15 hours long, because we've got so much to do with the narrative, all the different mechanics of the alien. On top of that, we've got the other, the threats aboard the station. We've got this big long story that folds out, and you can also, it's a bit like a kind of Metroidvania game where you've got a linear story where you go through, but you can also go back and explore as the area you've been to. So you can go back into areas and find new things, use things you've found to explore and open up new areas. So it feels very much that as you're unlocking the station, it's a real place you can go through. So that's kind of a lot to do in the world. But the difficult thing is nailing a time, because people can play for absolutely ages without even seeing the alien, because they're being really careful and they're being really stealthy. They've done nothing to call him down, or there's no been explosions that he's come to investigate, and those people can get through it fairly quickly. And then you have other people that
Speedrunners are always going to. Yeah, you're always going to have variables on the game.
But because of the systematic AI, and there could be humans there might not, you could be stuck for quite a while trying to figure out a situation. It's very hard to do.
It's got systematic AI. Does that lend itself well to? I mean, so it won't be the same game every single time we play it?
No, very much so. I mean, just this demo we've seen today, the alien's never in the same place. When you die, you come back in, he's in a different place on a different search and doing his stuff. So it's that, it's something I used to love about the old Tom Clancy games and the Splinter Cell stuff, where you're playing through a game and you see some guy and then you're like, oh, he kills you, and you're like, right, okay, next time he's going to be there, and you open the door and he's not.
Yeah.
And we have the same thing, but we've got it like 10 times worse with the alien, because you're sat there, you've got a little bit of flamethrower fuel left, you throw a flare, he's going to chase it and he goes after it, you turn around the corner and all of a sudden he hasn't gone after it, he's changed it, and you're like, oh no, and he's adapted to what you've done, and that's just a huge moment. I always said the meat of the game is learning what the alien is capable of and being surprised when it does something different.
And so you said, even though it has systematic AI, there is a story here, a beginning, middle, and end, and we're talking a satisfying conclusion, not no sequel baiting, right? This is something that we're going to get a complete story to, right? And the problem with horror games, at least, personally, is that they seem to just mess it up with that ending, but you guys have a good, satisfying ending?
I really like our ending. We've got a nice, solid ending. I think when we wrote the story, we've been through a few iterations of it, and I'm not sure if you know the writer Dan Abnett. He came in and wrote a lot of our stuff, so it's been great working with him. And the whole story we've got is just based around the idea that she's been there for a reason. She's gone there to find the black box from the Nostromo to figure out what happens to her mother, and then the alien appears and all bets are off. It's like, I just need to get out of here.
So obviously with the license, the strength is the look, and you get to explore the lore and stuff, and I'm sure 20th Century Fox has say in what happens and what doesn't. But in a world like that, have you guys put in any interesting collectibles or Easter eggs that players might find?
There's a lot in the environment, yeah. I mean, first off, the level of detail the artists have put into the world is just outstanding. It's just, you go through each environment, you're like, that bit was in the film, that was a film. Oh my God, there's the cigarette packet, this thing. And they've got the little things, and you just spot so much that was in the original film. It's incredible. We've got a lot of things in the environment you can collect to help you. Those are some stuff that give a bit of background on some of the other characters. So there's a lot for you to explore and do. Come visit.
I'm super excited about the game, guys. Is there anything else you'd like to mention that you find really fascinating about the game, or that wanted to get on camera?
I think just it's been brilliant watching people play it and come out and just really getting what we're doing, and seeing them come out of the room having played it and just being like, oh, this is it, this is that game, and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, no, I've been seeing that all, and exactly, I'm doing that right now. Obviously, I'm super excited. I obviously, final verdict in the review, even though I'm being super excited. Hopefully it's a good game. Don't make me angry, please. But one thing I do want to mention that you just reminded me of is that when I got hands-on, not only was there, you got your single player, but there's also these interesting challenge modes that are really, really difficult, and I like that because it's like trying to complete it and unlock stuff. Do you get anything for completing these challenges?
So the challenge mode was something we wanted to show today because it was a very quick way of getting you guys used to how the alien behaves and works. In the game, you're slowly introduced to him and you get to learn his behaviors and roughly what he's capable of. So in this end, we kind of give you a flamethrower, we put a clock in it, we say there's an alien there, and try and get out. And it's been a really tough
That's going to be in the final game, or is that
Yeah, that's something we are going to include, yeah.
Okay, cool. So can you tell us when Alien Isolation will release, and for what platforms is it coming out?
Alien Isolation is coming out on the 7th of October. It will be out on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, PC, and today we also have a prototype of the Oculus Rift on the show floor, and people have been going mental.
Oh my God, I just came from an Oculus Rift demo, and guys, this is the first time, and I'm like, whoa, holy shit, I cannot wait to do it with the Oculus Rift. I might buy an Oculus Rift if just for that. And let me ask you this. Sony has their own peripheral called Project Morpheus. I don't know if they're going to rename it or not, but do you guys plan to support that?
As a game studio, we're always interested in new tech. Something comes out, we have to get it and we have to play with it. I'm not going to say if we're officially working on it, but there's definitely guys in the studio who would love to produce a version and play around with it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and we'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show.
Superstar.